Before starting the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you are new to my channel. It really motivates me to keep on creating anime recaps for you guys. The story continues, and Yuya remembers that magic is the realization of imagination, but it can't be used without magical energy. Yuya then imagines the place he wants to go to, and a magical gate appears in front of him, and the gate takes him to the middle of the forest. Yuya then thinks that using this magic he can go anywhere he wants, but since it depends upon his imagination, he can't go to a place that he has never been to. He mentions that with this magic he can come back to cook some food for night even in the middle of his field trip, and he states that they should finish their forest exploration here. The scene then cuts to Yuya in a cave, and he fights and defeats some goblins with the help of Night. The goblins drop a ton of items, and Yuya thinks that their teamwork has been improving lately. Yuya then decides to head back, and Night gets upset over this. Yuya mentions that he would like to explore more with Night, but he also has to prepare for his field trip. Night then senses something, and he starts running, and Yuya follows after him. Night then tells Yuya to hide his presence, and Yuya uses his oneness skill. While hiding, Yuya notices that a girl is being attacked by some goblins, and he tries to step up to save her, but Night stops Yuya. Yuya then notices that the girl is strong, and she manages to kill some of the goblins, but she can't take down all of them, and the goblins manage to knock her out. Yuya and Night then intervene, and they defeat the goblins. A large horde of goblins then surrounds them, and Yuya uses the heavenly whip to take care of them. A pop-up menu explains that the tip of the heavenly whip increases with the number of times it's swung, and it can automatically attack the target and crush them. The scene then cuts to Yuya carrying the girl in his arms, and he thinks that he has killed a lot of monsters in the area lately, and he wonders if it will be easier for Owen and the others to come here now. Yuya then wonders what he should do with this girl, and he thinks that he should just take her home. Night growls at the girl, and Yuya realizes that he doesn't want the girl to come home with him, but Yuya thinks that he can't leave the girl like this. The girl then wakes up, and she gets startled to see that she is being carried by someone. Yuya then gives the girl a complete healing potion, and he states that this will help her wounds recover. The girl is hesitant to drink the potion, and Yuya states that he can drink it first if she doubts it. The girl states that she will drink it, and after drinking the potion her wounds get healed immediately. The girl then asks Yuya who he is, and Yuya introduces himself and Night. The girl then introduces herself as Luna, and Yuya asks her what she is doing in a place like this. Luna states that she was here to train, and she was attacked by the goblins in the middle of her training. She asks what happened to the goblins, and Yuya states that him and Night took care of them. Luna then thanks them for saving her, and she asks Yuya why he is here. Yuya states that he is also here to train, and Luna can't believe that someone would actually train in a dangerous place like this. Luna then confirms if Yuya is the one who carried her here, and Yuya states that he is. Luna then apologizes for making him touch her body, which was covered in dirt and sweat, and Yuya states that he doesn't mind as it's the same for him. Luna mentions that she can't go to the city like this, and she wonders if there is a river nearby where she can wash up. Yuya then asks her if she wants to take a bath, and the scene cuts to Luna using the portable bathtub. Luna states that she didn't know that such a pleasant thing existed in this world, and she thinks that Yuya is amazing for having something like this. Yuya mentions that he got this from a crystal deer, and Luna is surprised to hear that he can defeat such a strong monster. Luna then asks Yuya if he would be willing to accompany her in her training for a while, and she mentions that she has a reason for being in the Great Demon territory, and since Yuya is also here to train, she wants to train with him. Yuya thinks that if he refused, then Luna will train on her own, and this will just make him worried, and he agrees to train with her. Luna is excited to hear this, and she peeks out of the veil, and Yuya tells her to not leave the veil. The scene then cuts to Yuya, Luna, and Night fighting the monsters together, and they take out the monsters. Afterwards, Yuya trains Luna, and Yuya states that Luna also taught her a lot of things during their training. The two of them become stronger training with each other, and Yuya mentions that Luna has gotten stronger. He states that she really knows how to use that thread of hers, and Luna states that this is still not enough. Yuya thinks that Luna is really devoted to her training, and he mentions that he won't be able to come to the training for a while starting from tomorrow. Luna wonders why, and Yuya states that she won't understand even if he tells her that he has a field trip. Luna then states that it's fine, and she mentions that she is grateful for all the things that he taught her. Yuya states that he also learned a lot from her, and the scene then cuts to Yuya taking a bath. Yuya then wonders why Luna let him take the first bath today, and Luna states that it's because she wanted to bathe with him today, and she enters the bath. Yuya gets embarrassed to see her, and he tries to get out of the bath, but Luna stops her, and she thanks him for training her. She mentions that she could only become stronger because of him, and he also saved her. She states that the time she spent with him is her treasure, and she offers to wash Yuya's back. Luna's towel then falls down, and Yuya gets flustered to see her body. He then informs her about the towel, and Luna gets embarrassed, and she asks Yuya to not look at her. The scene then cuts to Yuya in the bus on the route to their field trip, and he is playing old maid with his group. Yuya seems sleepy, and the girls ask him if he was up late. Yuya states that he was, and he then wins the game. Kaide mentions that this is the 5th time Yuya has won, and Yuya states that he must be lucky. Yuya then states that he will be sleeping for a while, and he asks the others to wake him up once they are there. While going to sleep, Yuya thinks that he must be winning because his luck status is too high, and he feels like he is cheating. He thinks that maybe the incident at the bath was also because of his luck, and he then goes to sleep. The scene cuts to Rin waking up Yuya, and she mentions that they have arrived. Yuya thinks that the field trip venue is huge, and Miss Sawada then tells everyone to gather at the hall. At the hall, Miss Sawada explains that this field trip is like training for those who are going to be elites in the future, and she mentions that they will be doing outdoor activities for 2 days and 1 night. Rio wonders what they will do about their meals, and Miss Sawada states that there are a lot of mushrooms and vegetables in the mountains, and there are also fish in the river. She mentions that they will be provided some rice, but it won't be enough to fill them up. Kaide then mentions that it will be dangerous for them to eat random mushrooms, and Miss Sawada mentions that they will have to show their ingredients to her before cooking. She mentions that if by chance they are poisoned, then their medical teacher Ms. Yamikawa will take care of them. The students get scared after seeing Ms. Yamikawa, and Kaide informs Yuya that the infirmary of Miss Yamikawa is always shrouded in gloom, and they can always hear someone screaming when they walk by it. Ms. Sawada then tells the students to take it seriously as it is the same as a class competition, and Yuya asks her what they will get if they win the competition. Ms. Sawada states that this will affect the teacher's bonus assessment, and Rin states that they should just get this over with, and return to the facility. Ms. Sawada then mentions that the teachers will be the only ones staying in this facility, and the rest of them will have to camp out. The scene then cuts to Yuya's group out in the wild, and they wonder what they should do. Rin states that they should split into 2 groups, and she mentions that Yuya and Kaide should go fishing, while Akira and her will gather mushrooms and wild vegetables. Yuya agrees, and the scene cuts to Yuya arriving at the river. He notices that all the good spots are taken, and he then uses his detect skill to find a good isolated spot. Kaide thinks that it would be hard to catch fish in this shallow water, and Yuya then remembers that Luna taught her to read the mind of monsters and match their movements. He uses this technique to catch the fish with his bare hands, and he manages to catch it. He then continues, and the others are surprised to see Yuya catch the fish with his bare hands. They think that he is amazing, and Kaide then tells him that this should be enough. She mentions that the 4 of them can't eat this much, and Yuya states that he got carried away as he was having fun. Meanwhile, in the other world, we see that Luna is practicing using her thread, and she thinks that Yuya was beautiful unlike her. It is then revealed that Luna is the assassin we saw earlier, and she mentions that she is a member of the Dark Guild, and she is known as a headhunter. She thinks that she might have changed if she met Yuya earlier, and she thinks that she will have to say her farewell to him. The scene then changes to the capital, and we see that the princess is venturing out somewhere. The story continues, and we see that Rin welcomes Yuya and Kaide back from their fishing trip. She asks them if they managed to catch any fish, and Yuya states that they did. Kaide mentions that Yuya used his bare hands to catch the fish, and Rin thinks that Yuya's physical abilities are off the charts. Yuya then asks her what happened to Akira, and Akira mentions that Rin made her work to the bone, and he was also sent to a cliff in order to gather vegetables. He was also forced to taste mushrooms for poison, and he even became a bait for bears. Yuya worries about Akira hearing that he had to taste poisonous mushrooms, and he uses his appraisal skill to check Akira's stats, but he notices that there is nothing wrong with his body. The group then checks all the ingredients that they were able to gather, and Yuya notices that they managed to gather a lot. He uses the appraisal skill to separate the poisonous ingredients from the vegetables they gathered, and he asks them who is going to cook. They can't decide, and they think that they should first show their ingredients to the teachers. They then go to show their ingredients, and Yuya meets Kaori there. Kaori asks him how he is doing, and Yuya states that they are doing fine, but it would be better if they didn't have to worry about their survival. Kaori thinks that this is also fun in its own way, and Yuya agrees. Kaori's group then summons her, and Akira states that Yuya seems really close to Kaori, and he mentions that he also wants to be close to the princess of the school. Yuya is confused, and Rin explains that since Kaori is the daughter of the chairman, and she is even graceful, many people see her as a princess. The scene then cuts to Ms. Sawada checking out the ingredients of Yuya's group, and she states that their group got the most ingredients, and all of them are edible. Ms. Sawada thinks that she is getting closer to the bonus, and she mentions that their cooking is also going to be scored. She asks them who is going to cook, and everyone points towards Yuya. Miss Sawada then tells Yuya to give it his all for the sake of her bonus, and the scene cuts to Yuya cooking the food. The rest of the group is amazed to see that Yuya is well versed with cooking, and Yuya finishes cooking the food. They all then try the food, and the teachers then come there, and they think that their food looks really great. They ask Yuya if they can have a taste, and Yuya tells them that they can. The teachers then taste the food, and Yuya asks then how it is. Everyone states that the food is really great, and Miss Sawada states that she eats food prepared by the best chefs every day, but she thinks that this is even better than that. Yuya then thinks that it's refreshing to see everyone enjoy his cooking like this, and the scene cuts to everyone finishing their food. Miss Sawada then asks Yuya if he would like to marry her, and she mentions that she is really sloppy, and she could neither cook nor wash her clothes. She has always been concentrating on her research, and thanks to that she hasn't even had a single romance up until now. She then mentions that she has never met someone as great as Yuya, and she asks him if he would like to marry her. The others then mentions that Miss Sawada shouldn't say things like this as they are students and teacher, and Kaide states that Miss Sawada can't marry Yuya. Miss Sawada then mentions that she is not in any hurry, and she will always wait for him. The others try to stop her, and Yuya states that her proposal is out of the blue, and they are student and teacher, and he thinks of her as a great teacher. Miss Sawada then hugs Yuya, and Kaide tries to make her let go of him. The scene then cuts to Night waiting for Yuya at Yuya's house, and Yuya uses teleportation magic to return home. He states that he needs to go back to the trip soon, and he mentions that he will cook something good for Night. Yuya then feeds Night, and he mentions that he needs to go back now, as it's almost bath time. The scene then changes to the men's changing room, and they all get ready to take a bath. Everybody is looking at Yuya, and Yuya asks Akira why everyone is staring at him. Akira states that it's because Yuya's body is really jacked, and Yuya wonders if it's weird, and Akira states that they just can't believe that he has such a body while being in the going home club. At the women's changing room, Rin notices that Kaide's boobs are really big, and she grabs them. She states that Kaide's racks are a killing machine, and Kaide asks her what she means. Kaori then comes there, and Kaide states that Rin is teasing her. Rin states that it's because Kaide can use her boobs to charm the boys, and Kaori mentions that it's cheating. Rin then states that it's not bigger than Ms. Sawada, and Kaide then tells Kaori about Ms. Sawada asking Yuya to marry her. She explains everything to her, and Kaori wonders if Yuya like women with big breasts. The scene then cuts to the next morning, and everyone notices that their luggage has been ransacked. They wonder if this was done by a robber, and Akira is sweating after seeing some bare footprints. Yuya notices that their luggage is fine, and he thinks that they should gather ingredients for their breakfast. They then head off to gather ingredients, and Kaide asks Rin if they can eat these mushrooms. Yuya then notices that Akira seems out of sorts, and Akira shows him some bear claw marks, and a bear then shows up there. All of them run away from the bear, and they lead it to their campsite. The students start to run away after seeing the bear, and the teachers tells Yuya's group to run to places with obstacles to slow the bear. Meanwhile, the teachers evacuate the other students, and Ms. Sawada leads Yuya's group to hide behind some tables. The teachers then call the police, and Yuya's group keeps running away from the bear. Ms. Sawada falls down while running, and the bear tries to attack her, but Yuya stops the bear's attack, and he grapples the bear. He then knocks the bear out by throwing him onto the ground, and he asks Ms. Sawada if she is hurt. Ms. Sawada states that she is fine, and she mentions that normally she would scold Yuya for doing something like this, but she is grateful to him for protecting her. Ms. Sawada then asks him if he wants her as his reward, and Yuya politely declines. The teachers then asks them if they are okay, and Yuya states that they are, but the bear is unconscious. They wonder how they should keep the bear restrained until the police comes by, and the scene cuts to Kaori telling everyone that the bear will be kept at the facility, and it will be used as a guard bear. She states that she has already taken permission from the school and the city, and Yuya asks her how she got permission for this. Kaori states that it was because of her dad, and Kaide asks her what will happen if the bear attacks somebody. Kaori states that they don't have to worry as the bear will be turned into bear meat if it tries to hurt someone. Yuya then states that their field trip ended after this, and the scene cuts to him at his house. He notices that the time has come for him to meet the king, and the scene cuts to him clearing out the forest of monsters to make it easier for Lexia and the others to travel here. He notices that one of the monsters has dropped a strange helmet, and he tries it on. The deity of kicks then finds Yuya, and he thinks that he is the one. Yuya then notices the princess and her guards, and they can't recognize Yuya because of the strange helmet. Yuya then removes the helmet, and Lexia states that this helmet is splendid, and it suits Yuya really well. Owen then asks him if he will be coming to the palace with them, and Yuya states that he will. The princess then thanks Yuya for accepting their invitation, and she states that she will now escort him to the royal palace. Knight then pushes Lexia, and a tree falls beside her which Yuya cuts down. Owen wonders if Lexia is hurt, and Yuya notices a wire tied to the tree, and he thinks that Knight must have been trying to save Lexia. Yuya then tells Owen to protect Lexia, and he asks Knight if he knows where the perpetrator is attacking from. We then see that the attacker was Luna, and Yuya takes her out with a kick. The kick unmasks Luna, and seeing her face Yuya wonders what's going on here. Lexia then asks him who this person is, and Yuya states that she is most likely the one who tried to attack her. Lexia asks Yuya if he is acquainted with this girl, and Yuya states that he is. Yuya mentions that he needs to take this girl to his house and treat her, and he states that he just can't imagine her being a bad person. Lexia agrees, and Owen and the other soldiers then come there, and Lexia mentions that she will be going to Yuya's house again. The scene then cuts to Yuya, Lexia, and Knight running towards Yuya's house with Luna, and Lexia states that she is really curious about this girl's relationship with Yuya. Yuya states that the explanation can wait, and he then uses teleportation magic to teleport to his house. Lexia then asks Yuya to explain this to her, and Yuya mentions that he will. Thanks for watching part 8, the rest of the parts will be on my channel. Please like and share the video if you enjoyed it, and make sure to hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell to keep getting new anime recap updates.